Hey, BassGeek here, and today we're going to talk about throwing a lipless crankbait in the early spring. All right, it is that time again, guys. You know, every month Mystery Tackle Box sends me a Mystery Tackle Box Pro. I've partnered up with them now for quite a long time, and what I do is pick a bait, tell you how to use it this time of year, and then give this box away to one of you lucky BassGeek Nation subscribers out there. All right, so as always, guys, there is a code, there is a link down in the description. Make sure you go. You can get your first box for super cheap to get you started. Let them know that the BassGeek sent you there. Guys, I say it every time. This is a great way to get some good baits. You know, you've heard me go on about the whole, you know, brand name, blah, blah, blah. You know, a lot of things that are innovative didn't start out as brand names. Brand names bought them. But, as always, there's some very good brand names in here, as I'm about to show you. It also gives you some baits that forces you to go out. And us old heads, trust me, I know. I love to throw a swim bait and an A-rig and a shaky head and a jig. And I don't get outside of that much, but this will force you to do that. So it gives you some baits that maybe you're going to go out and try and find. Just like last year, if you guys haven't seen the spring unboxing, the 10,000 fish Sakushi bug. It was the star of the show for bedding smallmouth and largemouth last year. If you haven't seen those, make sure you go check them out. All that being said, let's open this thing up and let's see what's in it this month. All right, so I just showed you one, and that is the Guggen Squad lipless crankbait. It is the clutch lipless. I just held that up at the beginning of the video. Again, a great bait that I don't have any of, and I want some, so I've got to order some. The Mike Buka bull shad or bull gill. I've got a ton of the bull shad. I don't have any of these bull gills. Great for when those bass are, well, in ponds or in places where they're not feeding on shad a lot. And also when the bluegills are on the bed. Always get your Devil Digest or whatever they're calling it. Here's what everything would cost retail. Always get a cool little sticker. Here we've got the Marabou Pro Runner. It's a Marabou underspin. Got a nice diesel football jig. I love this color. Those are some good jigs too, guys. We've got a really nice cream, the good old cream worm. If you guys are as old as me, you'll remember that that was the deal way back in 100 years ago. But this is a green pumpkin crawl. Will pair up very nicely with that football jig. And of course, we've got some Excite baits. This is the high floating. It is a kind of a ribbon tail worm, but it's got a little ball on the end of it. So I don't know about that. That's an interesting little take. Here we go. We've got a little information on the bullgill. But as I said, today we're going to talk about, as long as I don't drop this stuff in the water, we're going to talk about how to throw that lipless and the places I like to target. Now, one of those places I'll have to tell you because they really don't exist where I live for the most part. All right, let's talk about rod reel line. So the setup that I'm going to use, this is actually an old Quantum Energy that I've had for years now. I'm actually getting ready to replace it with something else. And I like a lower speed, so a 6.3, that medium speed, 6.3, 6.5, 6.8. Now, if I'm running it over grass, I'm going to go into those 7s. But a lot of the stuff that I have and that I'm going to fish it around, it's going to be over top of flats and around channel swings. And so that 6.3 is going to help me contour the bank a little bit better. This rod is actually Dixie Custom Rods. This is a 7, let's see here, it's an X Glass crank and stick, 7 foot, and this is my trap rod. Now, one of two, actually. This is the trap rod that I'm going to use if I'm not around grass. If I'm around grass, I'm going to go to a little heavier, a little stiffer rod, a graphite rod, so that I can rip it out of that grass, keep it up high. Like I said, I'm going to go to a little higher speed depending on the level of the grass too. But this is a composite rod, so it's a glass rod. It's got a lot of bend to it. It's going to really absorb the hit from those bass, and it's going to help me keep these treble hooks in while I'm fighting that fish. I believe this is a medium fast, but it's a glass, so it's got some good backbone, but it's got a lot of tip in it. Line, generally I'm going to use about 10 to 12 pound test. The more, and I'm going with fluorocarbon if I'm in open water. If I'm around grass, I may be fishing straight braid. Most of the time, straight braid. If it's sparse grass, I may have a fluorocarbon leader, but for today, we're going straight fluorocarbon. Like I said, about that 10 to 12, most of the time 12 pound test fluoro is what you want to go with. All right, let me go show you how we're going to fish this thing. Now, right here is one of my favorite places to fish or trap during the spring. See that creek channel swing right up there? Right about in there, it just swings up. And one of the things I just love to do is come down through here, get really tight to the bank. That's one of the keys. Just make long casts, reel, stop, reel, stop, and twitch. We're just moving this bait down this bluff wall, and we're just letting it contour this. And again, I said bluff, but really a steep, the last deep water before you get to that spawning. And like I said, what we're doing is we're just reeling it slow. We're stopping, popping, seeing what we can find. But for the most part, the great thing about a trap is we're keeping the boat moving. Remember, just change the reaction. Straight reeling will get you bit, but a lot of times you're gonna cast out, you're gonna reel, and then I give it a couple of twitches, reel, couple of twitches, couple of twitches. I'm just gonna stop it every once in a while. You can even keep it reeling, you know, at a straight speed and just twitch, twitch. Now that's when it's a little warmer. Twitch it while you reel. So that's spot number one. Now, spot number two, and this is about as good as they get where I live because everything's such a steep mountain, but a flat. The flats are really big this time of year with a trap. And 90% of the time, you're just gonna reel it and try to bump anything that you can bump. Any sort of those stumps, like that stump that's out of the water right there, you're just going to try and bump anything you can bump it against. Sometimes those bass, what they'll do is they'll get up, there'll be a creek channel ditch run through here, and they'll push the shad and the bait fish up on these flats. So you're just going to reel that bait. Sometimes you're just going to burn it. Sometimes you're just going to stop and go. But most of the time on the flats, you're really going to be covering water with it. You're going to sit there and you're going to fan cast. You're going to move up and you're going to fan cast. That's the thing about a trap. And if there's any sort of rock, you know, a single rock, a single stump that you can run it by, bump into it, that's going to trigger those bass to come up and eat it. All right. That is truly about it. I mean, this bait is simple. Now, you can yo-yo it down that steep bluff wall. You can yo-yo it. You're going to want to make sure that there's not a lot of laydowns or brush there. Make sure you got a good plug knocker. That is another way, but a lot of times, just a nice slow stop and go is what I'm going to go with during the early spring. So now's the time you've all been waiting for. How can you win this month's MTB Pro box? As I always say, I keep it simple. You got to be subscribed, and you have to go down to the comment section and leave a comment, hashtag lipless. Hashtag lipless is all it takes. Make sure you leave that somewhere in your comment, and you'll be entered to win. As always, when this video comes out, it will be 1 week from the next video and time to give it away. So make sure you're watching, make sure you're keeping up. As always, guys, like it if you like it. Questions and comments in the comment section below. You guys know I love to talk fishing with you. Be sure you leave hashtag lipless down there to be entered to win. Make sure you ring that bell so you get the notifications when these videos come out. And as always, you guys rock.